morning, good morning, good morning. Oh my goodness, we're on day 11. Can you believe it? The last day. Oh my goodness. All right. I'm excited to dive into this conversation this morning. And when I set to work to do this challenge, in my mind it was like 10 days. It felt like 10 days was the right number. And then, as you know, there's a big process that goes into reaching out and finding the speakers that I want to talk about different topics. And when I got confirmation that Dr. Keira Barr was able to speak to us, I was like, oh my gosh, but I've got my 10 speakers. And it was like, oh my gosh, I cannot not have this conversation. I am so excited to speak to Keira today and to share her with you. So I just wanted to give a little background there as to why 11. It was kind of an interesting number to pick, but originally it was 10. So today is technically a little bit like a bonus, but we are on our last day. So for this particular more extraordinary everyday challenge. So as you come in, please say good morning, say hello, let me know who's here. Where are you tuning in from? Is it morning for you? We have here in Australia the first day of spring. Oh my goodness. And it's very grey. It's not looking very spring outside. But it is that beautiful celebration of a fresh start. So whether you're on the same side of the globe as me and you're stepping into spring, or whether you're on the other side of the globe and you're stepping into autumn, regardless, it is a new season. It is that fresh beginning, that new start. And so really acknowledging that, I think it's particularly exciting that it's fallen not coincidentally. I don't believe in coincidences. Good morning, Judy. Good morning, Margaret. Good morning, Facebook user with all the beautiful love hearts. I wish I could see your name. There's no coincidences, but we are here at this beginning, and it's like a fresh start, a new beginning. And so we get to wrap up this today. Good morning, Beryl. Good morning, Mia. Beautiful spring day there. Maybe the sun's going to come out for us today. I'm not sure, but I'm always excited to see the first blooms of spring. And out my front window here, I'm right in front of a window that looks out the front of my house. And I planted, actually, let me reverse that. I asked my husband to plant a Banksia rose because I've got beautiful memories. My children all went to a Steiner school in Castlemaine in Victoria when they were very little, and over the kindergarten was this beautiful arch over this Banksia rose, and every year at this time it would be like walking through this great yellow, I don't know if everyone knows a Banksia rose. They're short-lived, but the little tiny yellow rose. And it was just this amazing experience of walking through this huge arch of Banksia rose. And so I've got one planted out the front. Good morning, Wendy. Good morning. Good morning. It's lovely to have you here. It's very tiny and it's not very exciting to look at it, but I've just got I can show you the first blooms are growing up. I've got lemon, orange. That's actually a lime. It looks like a lemon. In the corner there, that's a grapefruit. And then I've got a mandarin on the other side. So anyway, there's a little glimpse at what I'm looking at out the front this morning as spring is sprung. Spring is sprung. So good morning, good morning. We are on 9:30. Good morning, Debbie. Yes, spring. Good morning, good morning. I'm so excited to dive in today and to wind up this more extraordinary everyday challenge on day 11. So here is what you can expect today. First and foremost, my intention is today is to be like a spa day for your soul and for your skin. So Dr. Keira Barr is going to be coming on in half an hour to talk to us about glowing skin from the inside out. And I know there are people in here with teenagers, young adult children who are looking for support, but also for us as midlife women as we go through all sorts of changes in our skin. Keira is going to support us with that. And I think she's going to share with you something that is a real flip on how we think about skincare and supporting our skin regardless of our age. So that's coming up. But first, my job here as we wind this challenge up. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Melinda, from Jill in Indiana. Good morning. So I keep leaning down. I should put my glasses on because I could lean down to read the comments. Good morning, Liz Taylor. It is lovely to have you here. Today, let's spend this first half an hour is a celebration for your soul. So why do we get to celebrate? Why is it important to celebrate all the little steps along the way? Let me take you back to what you focus on expands. So it is so easy to look at all the things we haven't done yet. It is so easy to look at all the things, all the reasons why we're not enough. We don't yet know enough. We're not thin enough. We're not whatever enough. So you can get to the end of this challenge, and from a place of 100% responsibility, you get to decide if you are going to celebrate today and look for all the reasons why, to focus on all the reasons why you get to celebrate. I can see the names in here. I can see who's here. Let me tell you, there are about 800 women. Let that number sink in. Nearly 800 women who are receiving these emails every day. Yes, there are people who are watching this on replay. There are people watching this on YouTube. And there are people here in the Facebook group, which is the comments that I get to see and the women I get to see. I see who's showing up every day. I see who is putting in the effort to complete what you started. There are women here I can see who have shown up every day consistently. You may not have felt like it every day, but you made a commitment to yourself to be here. Now, let me just drive this home. You are part of the 1% who sign up for something, commit to doing something, follow it through, and get to the end. That is worthy of recognition. That is worthy of celebration. And you get to recognize that quality in yourselves. So that's first and foremost. Remember, what you focus on expands. So we get to experience that feeling of gratitude for, good morning, Sandy, for the determination that you have, for the commitment to your life, for your commitment to your desire, to wanting to feel stronger, healthier, and happier in every way. Because not only does that affect your life, but it affects, that when your cup floweth over, you're affecting the people around you. You are having a ripple effect that is positive in your home, in your community, in the world, simply by being in commitment to showing up for yourself and being happier, stronger, and healthier in every way. So I want you to take this moment to pat yourself on the back. If I could stand in front of you and gave you a great big hug and probably, a smoochy kiss on the cheek, because that's my style, I would say congratulations, but I'm not there. So I'm looking in the camera and trying to get across to you how impressed I am by you. And I want you to take that, to receive that, to pat yourself on the back. If there's nobody else there to do it, this is personal responsibility. You get to do that for yourself. First day of spring in Melbourne. Yes. Oh my gosh, we've got grey sky here in Torquay, but if you've got blue skies, send it our way. So pat yourself on the back. Celebrate, okay? Now, we get to think about what was your intention when you signed up here. Now, this is not something that I ask lightly. I've talked about I am here because I see hear and value you. Now, I can only do that if you show up and share with me so that I can see you. And I'm seeing the people in here consistently, and the beautiful people that have to catch this on replay, leaving me comments, sending me emails. I include you in this, absolutely. So a lot of you, shared your intentions with me. So I want to acknowledge that, and I want to ask you to reflect whether you shared with me or not. No fault, blame, guilt, shame. Your journey, your responsibility. You get to get out of this what you need to. And if you didn't need to share it in the group, that's fine. But I want you to go back to your intention when you started this, because we get to look at where are you up to after these 11 days? What do you get to celebrate? What hasn't happened yet? No fault, blame, guilt, shame. What's in the gap? And what do you need from me or from this community or from somebody else in order to fill that gap? Because my job is to get you to the finish line. And we are at technically a finish line today. There's always a next step, but let's finish this in excellence. Yeah, let's finish this, be completed, celebrate, and then we can step into the next thing. So, Debbie, belief in myself that I can heal myself physically and spiritually. So, Debbie, think about, and this is, as I go through these, this is for everybody. Where, the generosity in sharing is that everybody can see themselves in some way or another inside your intention. And it is, like as I coach one person or as I support one person, it supports everybody. So the more that we can make our goals clear and measurable, the easier it is to celebrate them. So believe in myself that I can heal myself physically and spiritually. We've had a couple of amazing speakers in here just, recently. If I think about Monica and Marion over the last couple of days, they've, given tools and ideas to think about this. So Debbie, I would love to know whether you want to leave a comment or let me know via email. Where are you up to with that? Are you able to apply that clear, measurable goal to it so that you get to celebrate progress? It doesn't have to be 100%, but do you feel like you are a little bit closer? Janet, I love your intention sample. I'll reawaken my enthusiasm and excitement for life. So I think there were a few people that took on this intention, which was my intention for you going into this challenge. So who feels that they have experienced reawakening their enthusiasm and excitement for life? Are you able to feel that? Are you able to experience that? Do you feel, as we are here now on day 11, that that reawakened sense of enthusiasm for life is happening or has happened? So one of the ways that I support people to think about this is use your senses. Right back at the beginning, I talked about your sense of taste, and with Kim Morrison we talked about the sense of smell through aromatherapy, your sense of sight. For me, flowers, I'm showing you my garden, the things I'm looking at, the flowers in the background, which are now all in full bloom. And your hearing, when was the last time you listened to a baby laughing, or to, I've got this thing with my husband. He does this low, manly laugh, and it makes me so happy when I hear him laugh that way. Is it listening to, Pavarotti's Nessun and just that being, that sound therapy? What your sense of touch, one of my favorite things is fresh sheets on my bed and sliding into a freshly made bed, or as your clothes slide over your skin. These are the things that reawaken your enthusiasm for life, as well as having an exciting, clear, compelling vision for where you're going, why you're getting out of bed, What is today about? Reawakening that enthusiasm for life. So tell me, I would love to know. That was my intention for you inside this challenge. Do you feel that your enthusiasm for life is being reawakened? Let me know, please, in the comments. Monica, my intent is to be curious and expand myself to push my own boundaries. I love this one. These must have been wonderful. Oh, that's so good. I'm going to read through that in a bit. So, Monica, think about, and I know Monica's working, so you're going to be watching this on replay, I'm guessing, but intend to be curious, expand, to push boundaries. I love that. It's about getting out of our comfort zone. As I spoke yesterday, it's that call to courage to get out of your comfort zone and to widen your boundaries and experience something different. That gives you that sense of aliveness. Intention to reignite my energy and passion for life. Pam, let me know, how have you gone with that? Margaret, stop procrastinating and buy things my heart desires. I would love to know, Margaret, if you're on live, tell me, did you do that? Did you buy something that your heart desires that you have been procrastinating on? Tell me. I want to know what it is. I would love to hear. And what is that? Spending money is a value conversation. Money is a value conversation. This is something that I really feel passionate about women understanding, because we value so highly being of service to other people, looking after a partner, children, parents, people in our community. We don't hesitate to pull out our card and pay for our kids to do something. We always find the money for other people, but finding the money for ourselves is like holding up a mirror to see how you value yourself. Because if you struggle to spend money on yourself for things that matter, that is a value for you conversation. This is something that is important. It's really important to see this. If you can know in yourself that you can always find money for other people, if your car breaks down, you always find the money to do that, to fix that. It is possible to find the money for the things that we value. Are you valuing yourself? Ordered my new updating after 17 years. Margaret, woohoo! That is so exciting. You get to celebrate. Give yourself a pat on the back. That's amazing. Buy some new sheets today, Melinda. Yes. Choose courage over comfort, making important phone calls. Awesome, Judy. Okay, so let me keep going through these because I love them, and I want to see if I can make time to acknowledge everybody that's shared their intentions with me. Beryl, my intention to stop self-sabotaging and to create better habits. Beautiful. So everybody gets to experience this and to feel that this is shifting. So we've had conversations in here. Jennifer shared about self-sabotaging in terms of the way that we eat, but we can apply those same principles to everybody. So I would love to know, do you feel like you have been supported to shift that? And how can you put something into action, or have you put something into action to stop those habits of self-sabotaging and procrastination? Now, remember, I think I've done this training so many times on procrastination. I can't think if I said it in here or not, but procrastination is a habit. You are not a procrastinator. Don't allow it to be part of your identity, but rather see it as a habit. A little bit like you have a habit of, buying a Chucky bar every time you go in to fill up with fuel. These habits get created. They're wired into your subconscious. This is another whole training. I won't go off on a rant too much, but just hear me when I say that what you do on repeat, you wire into your subconscious, and it becomes part of your mindless behaviors. So let me give you this in a snapshot. When you learn how to drive a car, the first time you get in a car, you think about, oh, which is the brake, which is the accelerator, how do I put on my seatbelt, which is drive, which is reverse, which is both hands on the wheel, which mirror do I look in? Oh my gosh, am I ready to put my foot on the accelerator? Oh my gosh, it's terrifying. Every single tiny detail is front and center in your conscious brain. Then you do it on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. Now you can go out, get in the car, drive to the supermarket, get home, and you don't have any conscious attachment to 99% of what you did. You're thinking about something else, you're listening to an audiobook, you've got music on, you're talking to the kids, your brain is elsewhere. It is wired into your subconscious behavior. Now, if you apply this same thing to procrastination, you wire in a habit of procrastinating. You wire into your subconscious brain that you can put it off for later. And there is always later. There is always later until there's not. But that can go on for years. It is a habit that needs to be broken. So having that understanding, it does not define you. It is simply a habit that we get to break. So I'm seeing all these beautiful big comments coming through, and I will read them, I promise, as I come back. So I hope that helps. Beryl, I would love to know how you have gone with that. Jill, I want to reawaken my desire and vision to stop procrastinating my pursuit of them. I hope you're in the vision board workshop if your desire is to reawaken your vision. But let me know how you have gone with that, and that, conversation around procrastination, I hope, is serving you as well. Tracy, be stronger and believe I can be happy, healthy, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Of course you can. Of course you can. So tell me, how have you gone with that intention from where you started 11 days on? How are you feeling now? Do you feel like you have fulfilled that potential to have made progress towards what you're wanting? Sandy, hey Sandy, this in 11 days, by committing with an open heart and mind to keeping my word to me that I will listen each day to each speaker. I will do my absolute utmost to listen live. I think you have been here live a lot. Good morning, Spalding. It's lovely to see you again. So, Sandy, I believe you have absolutely met that intention. Let me know, but I think you have. So, Pam, intention to discover how to be committed to something to completion. Pam, did you make it the 11 days? Tell me, I want to know. And again, if you didn't, and this applies to everybody, no fault, blame, guilt, shame. It's simply a learning process. It is looking at it and going, okay, did I? Yes. Then we get to celebrate. Give yourself a pat on the back. If you didn't, no fault, blame, guilt, shame. What got in the way? What interrupted your desire, your commitment, your determination to do it? Simply use it as a learning tool. What was in the gap? What do you get to do differently next time? And then we get that momentum to keep moving forward. So Pam, I'd love to know, did you get here as intended to completion? Heather, I want to solidify my vision for who I want to become and learn what healthy means at this stage of my life. I no longer want to chase skinny. I want to be radiant. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Heather, want to solidify my vision for who I want to become. Are you in the vision board workshop? Oh my gosh, I hope so. But tell me, have you got that? How do you feel like you have met that intention? Let me know. I want to know. And if you're a Facebook user without your name up there, please, if you pop your name in, I can just even type it in. I can see who's responding. Crystal, this is a hard one. I would love not to have chronic fatigue and be 100% well in 11 days. Great intention, I get it. But I know goals need to be achievable and sustainable. So my goal would be to wake up each morning and be excited for the day like I used to be when I was a child. I love that. I love that, Crystal. I would love to know where you're at with that intention. Please let me know. And as I said, if there's stuff in here that you want to reply via email, edwina@edwinamd.com, you are getting emails from me every day. Let me know. Please do. Melinda, next 11 days, keep my commitment promise to myself to eat intuitively, nourish myself with real food and daily movement. They're great, really clear, measurable goals. I'd love to know how you went with that. Janet, my intention was and still is to reclaim my enthusiasm for life, thoroughly enjoy and selling your house. Janet, we all get to celebrate. Janet sold her house during this 11 days and it just all seemed to happen so smoothly and so beautifully. So that's really, really exciting. Massive, massive congratulations to you, Janet, for doing that. Beryl, so I've got all these beautiful comments. I promise I'm going to come back and read them and answer any questions that may come up. But for the sake of time, I really would love you just to take this minute, okay, to stand up, whatever you're doing. I know I can't see you. Don't allow this opportunity to pass. I want you to stand up now. Give yourself some space. Get your Wonder Woman pose on. Throw your shoulders back. Stick your chin up. Breathe in. And congratulate yourself for being here, for being in commitment to your life, to be working on becoming healthier, happier, stronger in every way. I don't care if you have shown up for one of these and you have implemented something, taken something on, or commit right now to stepping away from this and doing something with what you have learned. You get to pat yourself on the back and give yourself a congratulations. Do something today to acknowledge this moment. Expand yourself into this possibility that you can fulfill your intention, that you will fulfill your intention. And today is a brand new day. What can you get done by the end of today? So my heartfelt thanks for being here and congratulations for every step that you've taken. So I've had a few comments, and what I want to do is just give you a little snapshot of what it would look like to work with me, continue working with me going forward. So there's a few different things that I offer. One, of course, and we're going to have Keira with us in just a minute. So I want to give you this in a snapshot. I do a number of programs. One is Enliven, which is the foundation, the very first thing that you need, regardless of where you are, in order to know where you're going. So that is a vision board workshop, and it is about peeling back the layers of messaging and beliefs that you have about who you are and what is possible for you, and creating a really exciting blueprint for the future, for the life that you want to create. We've got to know where you're going. You've got to know where you're going. So the very first step is Enliven. Following Enliven is Embolden. So this is where I support you to change all the stories that are rolling around in here that may not be serving you well. That's a 3-month program. It is the progression after Enliven for those that choose to. That is a mastermind. So we get on a Zoom call for 3 months every week. You become part of a beautiful community. I've just wrapped up a 3-month Embolden with a beautiful group of women that are now connecting all over Australia, catching up on getaways and retreats, and have become this amazing community that all get under each other and lift each other up. So yes, I guide it, but it's a mastermind where these women all come together. And it is amazing. Empower is a kind of sidearm to what I do. So I teach women how to run their own vision board workshops. This is something that can be done online or in person. It is a way for you to pass on this work to other, I say women, not a lot of men get on the vision boarding bandwagon, but it is so, so powerful. And so it is also a way to create an income. So that's Empower. And then in Full Bloom, I talked about the kind of that picture of in full bloom yesterday, where it's in your middle. I talk about create the life you want, but it is your heaven on earth, your utopia. Gia, actually, if you wanted to share, I got Gia to create a visual for that so that you could, take a photo of it, have a look at it, because I think that that helps it to concrete into your mind. But in full bloom is really is a 9-month mastermind. So it's the extension after you've got your vision, you know where you're going, you've done Embolden, so I can support you with how you think about things to create the life you want, because that is the thing that stops us. And then in full bloom is where we start putting all these things to action in our everyday life. And once again, that's a mastermind. So that's a snapshot of what it looks like to work with me, because there's been quite a few questions come up about that. So I don't know, Gia, are you able to share that image? I don't know if she can share it in the comments or not. If not, maybe I can pop it in an email. I'll pop it in the email for you today so that you can see it. I'm wondering if Dr. Keira, Gia is saying that she can't. That's all right. So what I'll do, she can't, but that's really what I stepped you through yesterday, was that, that centerpiece and then the 6 petals or the 6 arms or bubbles that go around it. I got Gia to create it as a flower, because obviously that's the visuals that work for my brain, anything to do with flowers. So, and in full bloom. So that's, that's a snapshot. So we've got the very, very divine Dr. Keira Barr with us now. And I would love to just introduce you, tell you a little about who she is and why I'm so excited to introduce you to her. Remembering that today was about creating that spa day for your soul and now for your skin. But I think it's skin and soul is going to combine. So Dr. Keira Barr blends science with soul as an embodiment coach, mind-body medicine practitioner, and dual board certified integrative dermatologist. She's the founder of the Resilient Health Institute and best-selling author of The Skin Whisperer. Who wouldn't want to get their hands on that? Dr. Barr is dedicated to empowering women around the world with the tools to help them feel more comfortable and confident in their skin. Keira, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so, so excited about this conversation, because I think the way that you approach skincare and health in general is just absolutely magical. And it's a conversation that I'm dying to share with this audience. So I think if we can just, there's going to be women in this audience that haven't come across your work until now. So it would be lovely to start with just a little bit of a background. Keira, how did you come to be doing what you do now?
Yeah. Well, they always say your mess becomes your mission. And that is really what happened with me. So about 10 years ago, I was in an academic dermatology practice, practicing dermatology, dermatopathology. The focus of my career was skin cancer and melanoma. And at the time, I was running ultra marathons and thought I had everything going on. I was wearing my sunscreen, juggling the career, the kids, all the things. And then I found a spot on my arm that was very atypical. And ultimately, I had a diagnosis, early melanoma. And that was my wake up call that my body had been sending me signals. My skin had been sending me signals for years, and I was just ignoring them. And it really was after that, my health started to unravel. And to be able to get myself back on track, I really had to take a different approach to life, a different approach to health and wellness. And that really led me to where I am now, really understanding that at the bottom of all of the skin issues and all the other health issues that I was having was stress in its many forms. And I was like, just push through, you're fine, until I couldn't anymore. So it really informed how I now define skincare, how I work with people and support them so that they really can understand how to best help themselves.
Yeah. So let's just look at that a little bit more succinctly. So how do the work that you do, how does it differ from a dermatologist that people, typically would go and see?
Yeah, so I don't have a clinical practice. I am not writing prescriptions. I do not write prescriptions for pills, potions, procedures. I'm not opposed to any of those, but I fill in the gaps where my dermatology colleagues don't have the bandwidth. So
Mm,
really supporting, we know that upwards of 90% of all doctors' visits are for stress-related issues. Skin issues are the number one reason people go to the doctor.
yeah.
So if we are not addressing stress, we're missing the most potent and powerful prescription from every skincare regimen. That
Mm,
is what I provide to the people that come to work with me, is
mm,
really helping them find peace in their mind and trust in their bodies so they can feel more comfortable in their skin.
yeah. I think it's, mind body connection is one of those conversations that we hear. And I feel like there comes a point when it goes in one ear and out the other. And it's because it's not something that you can physically touch and rub on your skin or eat, or, it getting really understanding how the way that we think and our experiences and our emotions are affecting our health. It's an intangible. So how do you support women to really get that connection?
Well, I think it's fascinating. That's where skin is, I think, I'm biased, but the skin is like the best organ, right? Because it is the largest, it is the most visible. And so
Yeah.
this idea you literally can see. The
Mhm.
skin can be your greatest cheerleader, and it's a really crappy confidant. It will tell your secrets, right? So when you are worried, when you are angry, your skin may flush, you may blush. Your skin is constantly communicating with you. It is a direct correlation to the thoughts you are having in your head and what is showing up on your skin. We know that the brain and the skin are derived from the same embryologic layer of tissue, which
Mm,
means the brain and the skin are constantly communicating with each other.
mm,
And skin, because it has the same mechanism within it to create the stress response, to create stress hormones and other hormones and chemical signalers.
mm,
Your skin is both a target and a source
mm,
of the stress response. So your skin actually, you can easily make that connection because what's showing up on your skin is a direct reflection of what's happening beneath the surface that you
mm.
cannot see, but your skin tells you. There's inflammation. There's, maybe metabolic
Yeah.
dysfunction, hormonal imbalances. Your skin can tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, in going back to my training in naturopathy, which was a very long time ago now, thinking about the way that we treat these different things is a really mechanical process. Treating the body like a car, if there's a spark plug that needs replacing, it's really just looking at that one thing. And I think a lot of medicine has decided to treat the human body like that. So we're just looking at the skin and what's going on right here rather than this whole body picture and all these different things that are going on. So as you're talking, and I'm thinking about our beautiful teenagers and into young adults that typically present with the most skin problems. It is a time of huge emotional upheaval and all sorts of things going on. So from what you're saying, it absolutely makes sense. Yes, they're oilier and all these things are happening with hormones, but the emotional, I don't think we've tied that in as closely.
Yeah, we know the literature is really chock full of
Mm,
studies showing the emotional and mental impact that acne in particular can have on our mental well-being. And they found that it doesn't really even matter how, as the dermatologist, how clinically mild I might think it is. It's the lived experience of the person dealing with the acne. They might think it's severe and significant and life altering. And we have to meet people where they're at,
mm,
right? It doesn't matter what I think, it's how is a person sitting in front of me dealing with this?
mm,
So I think that's one of the biggest things. It's not just the stressors in our environment, especially when we're talking about something like acne. I define skincare as everything you think, feel, and do, which means eating, sleeping, what you're putting on your skin, what's in your environment, your digital environment, your physical environment, things that are toxic exposures, how you're eating, what you're eating. We eat multiple times a day. That's one of the greatest stresses on the body. So we have to look at all the stressors that can contribute to forming and triggering formation of skin problems. And then the added layer of the stress and the emotional turmoil and the frustration and the shame and all the things that go along with now living with that disease. And that's what's missing from most skincare regimens is what happens next. Right? What happens next? How do you navigate this? How do you deal with this?
Yeah. So, to give people a clear picture, if somebody comes to you and, whether they're 17, 21, 35, or, if they've got adult acne that has gone on. And yes, I know it's not all about acne, but just it's a question that has come up.
It's such a common condition. So yeah.
So what are your first steps? Because what I'm hearing and what I'm imagining is that once your skin is bad and the worse you feel, it becomes this compounding thing and you keep sort of trying to throw things at it, nothing's working, but the emotional compounding effect of that. So where do you start in unwinding that?
Yeah, I do think I'm not here to say that people should not use prescriptions or treatments. I think we need to build the bridge and we need both. And that's the beauty. And there are more holistic treatments and there's lots of different varieties. But how I start is really understanding like, how is this affecting you? Like, how are you doing? Like, what's going on in your life? Like, are you sleeping? Like, what brings you joy? Really just getting to know the person who has this condition. They are not their disease. They are a person who has a problem with their skin. And understanding sometimes where's the lowest hanging fruit. Like today, for instance, I was talking to a woman struggling with vitiligo, which is a very challenging condition, autoimmune condition, where our own immune system is attacking the pigment producing cells. And she has tried everything, all the topicals, lasers, light therapy, therapies. And when it really came down to it, what has helped, nothing else has helped, but what has helped when she leaned into prayer, meditation, really her inner knowing. And so we really explored, she hasn't been sleeping. She doesn't do anything really that brings her joy. All of these things are going to keep your stress response activated. So how I started is really kind of doing a life audit, like what's going on. And then teaching people different tools, strategies, and skills to help them better regulate their nervous system, to help them deal with the anxiety, the stress, and the overwhelm.
I just am so passionate about this holistic approach, the idea that we get to really nurture all the different areas. It's what we eat, how we're sleeping, our time in nature, how we feel about ourselves, the stories that are rolling around in our heads. It's this holistic approach that is just coming back into the conversation of caring for our well-being that I really like to amplify and just keep that conversation alive and going. So within that, I'm thinking one of the questions that I had to ask you was the connection between trauma and skincare as well. And I think you've covered that in terms of stress, but is there anything that you would like to add to that?
Yeah, I think we're learning more and more. I mean, trauma isn't so much of what happens to us. It's how we are in relationship and how we navigate what has happened to us. Really, someone defined trauma as like too much, too fast, too soon. We all have a window of tolerance of what our body is wired to handle, right? Within that window, we might fluctuate up and down, and then we come back to center. But trauma is when you've kind of gone through that upper limit. And then we're just sometimes frozen.
Yeah.
And trauma does get stored in the body. Things that have happened when we were very young that we've kind of suppressed. We don't even know, we don't even realize that when something happens in our present, it's reactivating that. There's so many studies, especially with skin cancer, that individuals, we know that adverse childhood events can portend disease
Yeah.
in as adults. And they did a study with skin cancer specifically, looking at individuals who had emotional abuse from a parent combined with a significant life stressor as an adult. And within a year, they found people had developed basal cell carcinomas, which is a very common type of skin cancer and very readily treated. But not only had they developed cancer, because stress has been shown to lead to cancer formation, progression, metastasis, survival, all of it. They also found that the environment that the tumor was in was suppressed, like it wouldn't respond as well to treatment. So we know that trauma is something that thankfully is getting talked about more. And I think many of us used to think trauma was like if you were in war, or if you were, sexually abused, or something horrific had to happen. We know that it doesn't have to be. It's like micro traumas that accumulate over time. And our body does, like Dr. Bessel van der Kolk wrote the book, our body keeps the score. It is true. You get stored in our body, and then they can manifest in many different ways, especially on your skin.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think everybody can, everybody in this series is 45, 55, plus. And so, we all have that experience. We can think of a moment, and it might be something that a teacher said to us at school that still has that visceral response. And it's all those micro traumas that we get to just find ways to shift how we're experiencing them in the current moment. Yeah.
And in the skin literature, there are common conditions like psoriasis, hidradenitis suppurativa, which is an inflammatory condition that can affect, I'm pointing to like the axilla and the inguinal folds, all the areas that are very sensitive, very uncomfortable, and also can impair like people's confidence to feel that they want to be intimate, right? So it affects relationships. Yeah. So we know that trauma and stress has far-reaching effects.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'd love to just ask you one thing that came into my mind, a few of more of the practicalities. You were talking about skin cancers, and I just think that sunscreen, we're on the other side to you. We're going into spring, and so summer's coming for us. And sunscreen is one of those conversations. There's so much conflicting information about it. Personally, I don't use it unless it's a very, very unusual circumstance. I don't like putting chemicals on my skin. But I think it's really, it's important. There's so much bombardment, particularly here in Australia with our ozone and so on, about, you must cover up. And then we've got the flip side of people, being vitamin D deficient and so on. So can we just address that conversation and caring for your skin when you've, exposed to sun, and what's acceptable levels and what isn't?
Yeah.
I'd love your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that is kind of the premise of my book, The Skin Whisperer, because I wrote it after my diagnosis with melanoma, and how to build resilience from the inside out to skin cancer specifically. And I always say SPF is not your BFF. The tagline, SPF is your BFF. It can be part of your inner circle, but you need other friends. And so I am a big fan of really going back to basics. We talked about the importance of sleep. We know that melatonin, which is the most potent antioxidant that the body produces, is produced predominantly when we sleep.
Yep.
And there's a direct correlation between our primary stress hormone cortisol and melatonin levels, right? So if we are wired and tired and we're not sleeping, melatonin goes down. We can't repair the DNA damage that's happening from sun exposure. So prioritizing sleep is incredibly important. Beauty sleep is not just marketing. It's true. Our skin rejuvenates when we sleep. Really nourishing our body with food that is rich in antioxidants. There are studies done on tomato paste, and the antioxidants that are in the phytonutrients that are in tomato paste that have been shown to decrease the risk of skin cancer. Green tea, coffee, even decaf. Caffeine has benefits, but also just the roasting process of coffee can be beneficial. So there are ways in omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, to your point, selenium. There's so many vitamins and nutrients that we can get from our food sources that can help bolster our resilience to sun exposure. That being said, I think clothing is, the Skin Cancer Foundation will say that clothing is your number one form of protection over sunscreen. That way you don't have to put chemicals on your skin. And so I do advocate for wearing sunscreen on the exposed parts. And ideally, and we're in front of a computer screen, it's emitting blue light. And so we know that blue light can also adversely affect your skin, causing hyperpigmentation and degrade the collagen and the elastin, which gives your skin that youthful appearance. So a sunscreen, a daily moisturizer that's tinted, that has SPF 30 or above is recommended, even if you're indoors in front of a screen, just to protect your skin from blue light.
Interesting. That is so interesting. And yes, I'd heard it, but it's really interesting the way that you put it. And so is there a way to, obviously because of the demographic that we're speaking to, is there a way to start reversing things if we feel like our skin is not the way that the youthful appearance that we want, if we're getting more wrinkles than we feel we want? Is there a way to turn that around, or once they're there, is that to stay?
Well, to a certain degree, there's, many of them may be there to stay, but complexions can certainly clear up and brighten. And I think, again, it's going back to basics. How are you nourishing yourself with foods rich in antioxidants, low on the glycemic index, anti-inflammatory foods, and nourishing yourself with joy and pleasure, and spending time in nature and doing things that feed your soul, that light you up. Because the number one, I'm not a big fan of anti-aging at all, but if we're going to use that terminology, the most potent anti-aging strategy is managing our stress response, because cortisol will break down that collagen and that elastin. And not only that, it interferes with creation of new collagen. So it's like a double hit. So when we are not taking good care of ourselves, fine lines, wrinkles, skin sag, they're going to show up at a much faster rate than our physiologic age or chronologic age, right? So slowing down the hands of time really means that we have to be very intentional about how we think about ourselves, how we nourish ourselves, sleep, all of that.
Yep. Love it. I'm just wondering, I'm just going to do a quick check for any questions. The name of the book you mentioned.
The Body Keeps Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk.
Yeah. And that was tied to that trauma and stress comments. Yeah. Our body keeps a score, Judy. I read that B3 or nicotinamide can help with combating skin cancer. What do you think?
I'm sorry, say that again. What about combating skin cancer?
B3 or nicotinamide.
Yeah, so the literature does support individuals who have a history of skin cancer, non-melanoma skin cancer. 500 milligrams twice daily of niacinamide has been shown to be effective. In terms of prevention, I don't know how strong the literature is yet, but it has been shown to be effective for individuals who already have a history of skin cancer.
Okay.
For future prevention.
Yeah. Spalding's asked, you mentioned low in the glycemic index. What does that mean?
So there are charts that can help guide that, but we're talking about whole foods, nutrient-dense foods, apples, sweet potatoes, bananas, maybe fruits and root veggies might be higher on the glycemic index, but still healthier than a cupcake or cookies and things like that. So non-starchy veggies like zucchini and lettuces and greens would fall under that, lean proteins and such. But for actual specifics, there are great charts that you can find online, low glycemic index.
Yeah, literally spalling. If you just Google it, you'll find something that gives you a clear kind of chart to print out. Okay, so what I wanted to ask next, I guess I'm so engrossed in the conversation, the questions leave my head. If people have got questions, make sure that you're popping them in here. Daily routines that you recommend. I know, my mum, who's actually got amazing skin, she's about to turn 88. Her daily skin routine for, I think, the last 60 years has been water and a face washer and Nivea. She's used Nivea, I don't know how long, for how many years. And she's got great skin. I know that genetics plays a part in it. But, what are your thoughts on cleansers and toners and, or moisturizing and these sort of basic daily routines? Now, everyone's talking about these rollers that you use on your skin. Can you just give a snapshot of some practical things that people can be doing on a daily basis that you think make a difference?
Yeah, I honestly believe simple is better. Probably because maybe I'm lazy or I'm non-compliant. I don't know, but these 21-step skincare routines are just like nuts. And it's expensive. You don't need all those products.
Yeah.
I like to keep it really simple. I think first and foremost, what you put on your skin won't have as much impact if you're not taking care of who you are beneath your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And so my daily rituals that I recommend, do you have some sort of appreciation or gratitude practice?
Mm-hmm.
Just even stopping to pause and just breathe.
Yep.
We know that awareness of breath, are you breathing, how you're breathing, breath activates that rest and relaxation response, right? So preserving that collagen and elastin is going to be really important. So really taking care of yourself. So I find that taking short breaks, I always put my hand, I never even realized putting my hand to my chest, just a soothing self-touch, just to calm myself down, just to know that like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend that everyone find their own way of, you may be doing it automatically. Your body has such wisdom. So it's just a matter of tuning into that and just noticing what you happen to be doing. In addition to that, cleansing your face, people say morning and night, but if you only remember to do it once, do it in the evening after you've been out all day, getting the grime off, the air pollution, cleansing your face with a gentle cleanser. And then an antioxidant serum can be helpful, particularly that has at least vitamin C and E. There are others that have lots of added ingredients, but we know that literature supports the synergistic effect of vitamin C and E together. And then, as we mature, our skin cell turnover slows down a little bit. So using a product that can help exfoliate and enhance skin cell turnover and skin cell rejuvenation, something like a topical retinoid, so Retin-A, and it's various vitamin A derivative forms, retinoids, retinols that you can get over the counter. And then in the morning, if you're going out, if you're going to be sitting in front of your computer screen all day, sitting in front of a window, because those UVA, those aging rays that penetrate more deeply into your skin, penetrate through window glass. So I say you need 4 products at most: a cleanser, a tinted moisturizer with SPF 30 or above, and I only recommend zinc-based products, an antioxidant serum, and a topical vitamin A derivative. And if you can't tolerate a retinoid or a retinol, because some people, it can cause dryness and irritation, a nice alternative is bakuchiol. That in the literature, done a head-to-head study with topical retinoids, had the same or similar benefits.
I'm thinking about all the hours that I spend in front of a window and my computer. I use a product called a makeup called Inica, because it's an Australian company, and they're, it's all natural and organic. But their foundation that I use is a powder, and it does have an SPF in it. I can't actually remember what it is, but I'm just wondering if a powder does the same as a cream. I just lost the word. Foundation.
Yeah.
I don't like that sort of cakey feel in my skin. I like just a light powder. But do you know, is there a difference between the
Well, I think in terms
powder
of coverage, you may the powder in terms of the density, you may not be getting as significant a coverage as something that's, you're blending in. I agree. I don't like to wear makeup and such, but there's an American product, and I have no affiliation with them, but I really like them because it has hyaluronic acid, so it goes on really smooth, and it's Ilia, Ilia, their super serum, and I've become a super fan because it goes on really smooth. They have all different shades and tints.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like one and done. You're kind of like your foundation and your sunscreen.
All done. Oh, I'll look at that's a great tip. Thank you. I'll look it up. That's great. So, is the correct spelling for the product as a substitute for retin A, Bakuchiol?
Yes, that is correct.
Well done. Thanks, Spalding. Thank you. All right. So, I know you've got an amazing gift. If you've got time, I know there's going to be questions that come up for your Keira.
Sure.
And most of them are in the Facebook group. I'll send you a link so you can jump in and answer questions if they come up, and then the audience can connect with you directly, which I think there's going to be questions. But I know you've got a beautiful gift for our audience, and in having a sneak peek and reading through what you were sharing, it said you talk about in less than 10 minutes a day to access your inner power on demand, access your energy, vitality that sustains you. And I was like, I want to get my hands on that. So Keira, would you just take a second to let the audience know what that beautiful gift is?
Yeah, we talked a lot about stress and what to do, but not feeling like, she just said that, what do I do now? So I wanted to offer a 5-day experience where in 10 minutes or less, you can experience how to find that peace in your mind, the calm in your body, and help rebalance your nervous system and get your skin glowing. So it's just 5 days of guided experiences to help people feel more calm, comfortable, and confident in their skin before they head up on their day. Or you could do it anytime. You could do it at night too, to help you get a more restful night's sleep.
Oh, so good. We have a global audience in here, obviously, right across the globe. So for people that want to work with you more directly, do you do things virtually? Do people need to see you online? How do people kind of connect with you?
So all of my work is done virtually because I'm not bound by country lines, state lines, because I'm functioning more as a coach and a consultant. So I am working with people all over the world at this point. So yeah, they can just reach out to me and see if it would be a good fit.
Fantastic. Such a delight, such a fabulous conversation, Keira. I cannot think of a better way. We're, on the last day of this challenge, and I just think this is just the most beautiful, supportive conversation on so many levels. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Keira. All right, beautiful women. That was, I think, a really magical way to finish up this conversation. As I suggested, hopefully Keira will be able to come in and answer if you've got any questions that come up. Make sure you just pop them in the comments, and she'll see them when time permits at some stage in the next day or so. So she can come in and answer those questions. Obviously, this is the final day. We started this with a celebration of you. I would just like to say thank you so much for being with me, for putting your trust in me, for gifting me your most valuable asset, which is your time. I treasure it. I love our connections. This Facebook group, obviously, it doesn't go away. It is here. I'm not 100% great at being on social media. I much rather talk to people through email or part of my programs. Obviously, next week on Monday, we're kicking off Enliven. As I said at the beginning of this, this was supposed to be a 10-day challenge. This 11th day was a bit of a bonus that came up after the fact. So I'm happy to extend the bonuses for Enliven if you haven't jumped in yet until tonight. If you haven't jumped into Enliven, if you've got more questions, if you're sitting on the fence and you're like, I'm not sure if it is, if it isn't, trust that beautiful inner wisdom. If you're feeling like this is a great next step, if you would like to stay on me on the journey, this Enliven is the next step in this journey. So Gia will pop the link in here. Obviously, it comes out via email. You can connect with me via email. And we will get you sorted. For those of you that are not joining us, so much love and thank you so much for being with us. And for those of you that are jumping into Enliven, I will see you on Monday to kick off the next part of this magical journey. All right, that's it from me. Oh, I'm going to get all emotional. Love you all so much. All right, bye for now.